Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sebastian, and welcome you guys to another episode of the DREAMERSPRO show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them in. Yeah, we got another one of these, but before we get into it, please make sure you like the video and sub to the channel. Make sure you follow me on Instagram. My handle is CTABANZ. So, Stephen A. Smith is like the gift that just keeps on giving. So he did it again. As you guys know, we've been producing some shows around Stephen A. Smith for the last 2 weeks. The first one we did was reacting to a conversation that him and Bill Maher were having about Bill Maher talking about Stephen A. Smith could be a potential candidate to run for the Democrats in the general election. I'm like, you got to be crazy. And Roland Martin expressed his sentiments and essentially said the same thing I said. He said, you're insane if you take Stephen A. Smith seriously, or if you're even thinking about taking him seriously as some type of political candidate, let alone a figure. So we did a show about that. Then Stephen A. Smith went on his show, and his show, Straight Shooter, and he decided to call out U.S. Representative Jasmine Crockett for the way she speaks, the way she was speaking to the president, and was essentially telling the woman, look, why don't you go look for something to do? It's like you have nothing else better to do. Why are you being combative with the president and this and this and this? And let me tell you, folks, people went to town on him for these comments. So what we want to do is we want to play what Stephen A. Smith had to say here. Originally, they got people talking, and then we're going to come back and continue on the show. Take a listen to him here.
Now Jasmine Crockett chooses to express herself. I'm like, is that going to help your district in Texas? Aren't you there to find a way to get stuff done as opposed to just being an impediment to what Trump wants? How much work goes into that? I'm just going to go off about Trump, cuss him out every chance I get, say the most derogatory, incendiary things imaginable, and that's my day's work. That ain't work. Work is saying that's the man in power. I know what his agenda is. I'm not exactly in a position to stop him since the Republicans have the Senate and the House. But maybe if I'm willing to work with this man, I might get something out of it for my constituency. Because like Joe Manchin said, he's there to represent, or was there for 15 years to represent, the people of West Virginia.
So that's what Stephen A. Smith said originally. Then on, was it Friday or Saturday, comedian D.L. Hughley called out Stephen A. Smith. I mean, he really called him out. And he wasn't the only one, because Roland Martin called him out as well. So what we want to do is, for the people who didn't hear what he had to say, want to play what DL had to say, and then want to come back and really get into what Jasmine Crockett had to say here, because this is the one that really kicked it off. Take a listen to DL here.
I had a conversation with Stephen A. And I said that I would be more judicious in the way that I critique the things he said, and I would only do it if it rose to the level of something I needed to say something about. It's interesting that he chose Jasmine Crockett. Now, she doesn't serve in any leadership position. She's in the minority party. I wonder why he didn't single out, for instance, the President of the United States. And is he serving his constituents, the people that voted for him, by, I don't know, attacking a comedian and maligning a comedian, or maligning the opposition, the Democratic Party, or rambling in front of generals and the Navy? How is his constituents served? Does he serve his constituents like Mike Johnson, who constantly calls recesses so he won't have to deal of the matters of Congress? Or Jim Jordan, who's been in Congress for 18 years and never has written one piece of legislation in 18 years. I wonder why it isn't those people that he singled out. We're never going to argue about the efficacy of Congress. I think we have an agreement there. I think that they are not effective. I think that they don't do the job. I think that they don't represent their constituents well. But Jasmine Crockett is a member of the minority party. She holds no power. Her party doesn't have any power. She's not at the top of the minority party. She's a very junior congressman. So why would it be her that you would single out? Her job to represent her constituents. When you're in the opposition party, the minority party, your job is to object and to be loud, to be a fly in the orbit, to gum up the works. She's doing what it is she has the power to do, what's in her capacity to do, what's in her bandwidth to do. This is what she's supposed to do. She's supposed to make it harder and make it louder. That's what she does. She represents her constituents by being a member of the opposition party and to, by definition, oppose. I don't care in any paradigm you look at. Leadership starts at the top and goes down. Stephen A. Smith would have you believe it starts at the bottom.
Excellent. So you heard what D.L. Hughley had to say there. So I woke up this morning. I was going through the internet and I came across a post from Hollywood Unlocked. And it says, Jasmine Crockett reposts message about Stephen A. Smith after his recent comments about her. And I'm like, well. Let's see what she had to say. So let's get into the slides here. Here's one post that she reposted of Willie D. Shout out to Willie D. Willie D said, Stephen A. Smith taking shots at Jasmine Crockett ain't just messy, it's weak. Dude's sitting on one of the biggest mics in America. And instead of using it to uplift, he's tearing down a black woman who's out here putting in the real work. That ain't critique. That's betrayal. Jasmine Crockett ain't the problem. She's the kind of woman who walks in a room full of snakes and makes the snakes flinch. Meanwhile, Stephen A. showing us what happens when the paychecks gets louder than the principal. That sucker bleep straight up. So that was Willie D. Shout out to Willie D. Let's read what she posted here. Black men, I have a question. I see a lot of great commentary from many of you on Stephen A. Smith's ignorant statements time and time again. This time he disrespected a powerful black woman who's putting her life in danger fighting for the U.S. At what point will you all lead the charge to turn him off? And people kept on weighing in. The previous show that we did, even Roland Martin, he himself weighed in on the subject matter. So a lot of people are expressing their views. What are my thoughts about this? I think Stephen A. Smith is running the risk of alienating himself from everyone. And this is the problem when you grift. You end up triangulating yourself into a position where you end up losing everybody. Because the people you're grifting against, they see through your nonsense and they call you out for it, like what's being done here. And then eventually the people that you're grifting for, they'll see through your nonsense as well. And then you're now left in a position where nobody takes you seriously. No one takes you seriously. Stephen A. Smith likes to present himself as an independent. He's the only independent mind that is always criticizing one side of the aisle but never criticizes the other. What kind of independent mind is this? The reason Stephen A. Smith is so harsh on the Democrats and is riding the conservative wave is because he feels like this is the best way to gain a foothold in the political arena, and because conservatives are the only one that has given this guy airtime. That's the truth. They're the only ones that are actually taking Stephen A. Smith seriously. They're the only ones that even platform Stephen A. Smith. No one else takes Stephen A. Smith seriously. And the only reason they're doing that is not because they view Stephen A. Smith as some potential candidate in the future. No, they don't view Stephen A. Smith. Any conservative watching the show, they'll tell you for free. They don't. They just view him as a useful idiot. And he's out there doing their bidding. Period. End of story. And Stephen A. Smith doesn't understand something. And I'll tell it to you guys because I'm following this thing pretty closely. Stephen A. Smith doesn't understand that there's a shift taking place. And what's going to end up happening is he's going to back himself down into a corner. Similar to what Steve Knight did. Steve Knight is a grifter as well. There's no doubt about it. And what has happened is people are now seeing through his grift. So now the only thing he has left to do is continue to grift because he's lost all respect. And if he tries to step out of that grift for any second, his viewers are going to punish him by disliking his video, etc., etc. Let me tell you the shift that I'm talking about. Okay. Initially, leading up to the general election before Donald Trump took office, Donald Trump had a lot of support. He had a tremendous amount of support, especially from the podcast bros, I guess you should want to call them, right? The Joe Rogans, I think all the other big podcasts, the Asmongold and all of these guys, whatever, right? But as time has gone on, these guys have started to slowly shift their position on him. Yesterday, I came across a video from Penguins Zero. He has a massive platform. I think he has something like 17 million followers. I mean, it's a humongous platform. And the title of the video was "Brainwashing Situation is Crazy." Now, the reason I discovered Penguins Zero or even an Asmon Gold, believe it or not, what made me discover them was Black Myth Wukong. When I bought Black Myth Wukong, for those of you who know, was, it was one of the most difficult games that came out in recent years. So I would go online watching people play the game and see if they could beat some of those bosses. That's how Asmon Gold popped up on my timeline. That's how I discovered Penguins here, because they're gamers. So I didn't know anything about their politics. So I was surprised to now hear the video that Penguin Zero dropped yesterday. And after you watch that video, the time I watched it, the video had 1.4 million views. As I'm speaking to you right now, this video is at 2 million views. The time I was watching it had 22,000. Let me repeat it once more. 22,000 comments. 22,000. Now the video is at 31,000 comments. And he's just talking about the fact that people are beginning to see through it. And he was talking about the situation about the Qatar bribe. Because initially, remember, Qatar gave the United States a $400 million plane. A lot of people are like, what is this? Why would a country just give the United States a $400 million gift? Why would they just do that for no good reason? Then we find out, okay, there's going to be a golf course or something like a resort being built out there for $5 billion or something like that. Then we hear the Secretary of War, whatever, Pete Hegseth, say that they've struck a new deal where Qatar is going to have a naval base in Ohio. And people are like, what? These are people on the right saying, no, this is too much. This is too much. The Epstein files, they're also going to come out. There's no denying it. The minute they open up the government again, the Epstein files are going to come out. So these guys are already starting to jump off the carousel and say, no. This is too much. This is not what we signed up for. The Rogans of the world. And they're moving on. Now you have Jasmine Go, who I never knew was an absolute lunatic until recently. I heard him speak. I couldn't believe the stuff he was saying. He's a lunatic. He's a lunatic. And please, as a Christian here, don't you dare associate that clown with being that is not a Christian. That is not how a Christian speaks. Are you insane? Talking about people should be gunned down in the streets because you don't agree, because you support a particular administration and therefore they should lose their lives. Are you insane? Are you insane? Are you absolutely insane? Like, what are we talking about here? I'm not for violence and all of that, but that's insanity. So he's insane. And he said he views these people as animals. So that guy's not a Christian. And don't you dare try to associate him with Christianity. He's not. Christians don't think like, real Christians don't think and behave like that. So he's not. But anyway, the point I'm making is there's a shift taking place. And Stephen A. Smith is going to be late to the party. But guess what? He will eventually get there. And when he gets there, he's going to switch it up and start grifting again. If we get to the midterm elections and the Republicans lose seats, which a lot of people speculate that that's what's going to happen, hence the reason we're going through all of this drama and they're trying to they're trying to cause chaos or whatever it is. If that happens, you better bet your bottom dollar that people like Stephen A. Smith will jump back on the other side of the fence and start telling you, the Republicans are idiots, man. They took it too far. They took it too far. So if you're a conservative and you're listening to this clown and you think he's a truth teller, you're the fool. Because they're tricking you. He's playing you just like the rest of these grifting MFers. He's just grifting. And the reason he's doing it are two. The reasons are two. One, because he noticed the political wave, so he's trying to ride it. And two, these are the only people that will platform him. That's all, folks. But at the end of his grift, what he'll figure out is that nobody on the left will take him back again. He'll be stuck where he's at, so he'll stay there. And if he dares try to grift back to the left, I'll call him out too. Because these grifters need to be called out. Grifters need to be called. If you are a staunch Republican, my brother, have your opinions and stand by it. If you're a staunch Democrat, have your opinions. Don't be afraid to say them. But if you're one of those people that doesn't have the courage to say what you believe, and instead you find power, you find peace in saying what other people believe, then I have no respect for you, and you deserve to be called out. Period. End of story. Nobody that comes to this channel can accuse me of not knowing what Charles thinks. You know exactly what I think. You know I'm not a fan of LeBron. I'm not going to sit up here and start twerking it up because, I don't like him. I'm a Kobe guy, Jordan guy, and that's it. But nobody's confused about this. You can't pull up any videos of me saying, LeBron the GOAT and this. You can never pull it up. It's called having intellectual consistency. That's all it is, folks. And not everything is about some damn money. Not everything. I'm out here starving. I'm not begging on the road for money. So I don't need to sell my ass for more dollars like a lot of these guys are doing that are getting called out. Because the grift won't last forever, bro. It won't. It won't. These are my thoughts. Whatever you guys think, leave your thoughts in the comments and we catch you on the next show. I'm out.